Okay guys, so ever since my last video that I did where I ended up pitting the pepper sprayer versus the silent specter, a lot of you guys in the comments were talking about how much you wanted me to cover yet another one of these Spec Ops weapons, and in today's video we're going to be covering the Browbeater. Now I told you guys over on Twitter that you guys could vote for what weapon you would like to see next between the Grunt and the Browbeater, and even though you voted the Grunt, I'm going to go and say F democracy and go with the Browbeater instead. I have been saying recently that I've been getting a little bit bored of the traditional review style of video, but there's not too much different that I can do for today's video because in my opinion the Browbeater itself is a shotgun that can't really be compared to any of the others in the game, as in my humble opinion it is definitely the king of shotguns, especially single target damaging shotguns. So in today's video of course we're going to be going over the Browbeater, the new Spec Ops shotgun that you can get from the Spy Llamas. Yeah, okay, I'll give you attention. But yeah guys, this weapon's absolutely crazy. I did a ton of smasher tests, got some really good gameplay, and I can't wait to talk about it in today's video, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, now before we actually do jump into this video, start talking about my thoughts and opinions and the overall conclusion, everything like that, we first need to go and take a look at the stats, the perks, and the hero loadout. Now the perks on this weapon are pretty, standard. We have a crit rating, double crit damage, damage with an energy, and the final perk, a damage dealt with this weapon will snare the target, which you don't really want to have the stand still perk, especially for something like a shotgun. You're either gonna die really early, enemies are gonna be out of range, or it's just gonna be very inconvenient, so snare is your best option with this weapon. The stats are actually really good. We have a damage of 169,000, which is nice. A critical hit chance of 43%, which means the base crit hit chance is 15, which is above average, or better than the lowest of the low. The critical hit damage is very good with 545%. The fire rate's very low with a 0.63, magazine of 5, range of 2000, reload of 4.4, and an impact of just under 9,000. Now the hero loadout that I'm using in this video is of course Buckshot Raptor for the critical hit damage, totally rocking out with wafers and battle beat, locked and reloaded, shell shock, and plasma arc. I like to have plasma arc there because this is very much a single target weapon, but it can hit multiple enemies at one time, and plasma arc kind of helps it be able to clear big groups of enemies, which is something that I didn't do in the gameplay in the background, which I really wish I would have had plasma arc on, something I thought about later on down the line, and it's a very nice perk overall. Okay, so now that we have the essentials out of the way, I feel like it's just about time for me to show you guys why I feel as though this weapon is the king of shotguns. This weapon can deal ridiculous amounts of single target damage with ease, and the gameplay that you guys are going to be seeing is power level 124 solo against a vast array of smashers under a vast array of circumstances. So I will have totally rocking out, no totally rocking out, using double pump, and everything in between. I think I also have a Warcry clip as well. You're going to be seeing a lot of different footage of me using this weapon in different circumstances and seeing just exactly how effective this thing can be. I absolutely love the Browbeater, and I don't think I've ever seen a shotgun like it. At first, whenever the Spec Ops weapons dropped, I felt as though the Browbeater was a little bit overrated. A lot of people were talking about how good they thought it was. I ended up using it and I thought it was okay, but it wasn't until I decided to perk my own and really sit down with it for a few hours that I decided that I feel as though this is my favorite shotgun in the entire game. Now that being said, that doesn't mean that this weapon doesn't come without its own, kind of shortcomings here and there. There's a reason why you see a lot of people using this weapon with the double pump strategy, and if you guys don't know, that's whenever you have one shotgun in one slot and a second shotgun in the other, and you swap between them, shooting the weapons even faster without having to reload and wait on the fire rate and other stuff like that. There is a reason why that's a popular strategy, and that's mainly due to the fire rate and the reload time on the Browbeater, but aside from those two stats, you don't really find many shortcomings with this weapon. I do find that using the double pump strategy can be a little bit out there for some people. Some people might not want to dedicate 66% of their slots to just a single shotgun, well I guess two shotguns, just to be able to use it very effectively, and I get that. You don't necessarily have to double pump with this weapon if you don't want to, but it's definitely a very effective and a very fun strategy if you do want to take that route. I think even if you aren't double pumping with this weapon, it's still one of the best shotguns in the game by far, and I I even decided to kind of pit it against a few of the other shotguns in the game that are known for really good single target damage, with the Stalwart Squire, the Helium Shotgun, and the Double Boiler. Taking a look at the Stalwart, it's going to have lower damage, lower headshot damage, mag, and range, but it will have slightly better fire rate and reload time. Of course, the Browbeater is going to wipe the floor with the Stalwart Squire in terms of damage, but the Stalwart Squire also is going to have a wider spread to be able to clear out more enemies in general on top of the single target damage. Now, the Helium Shotgun, you will see a lot of green and a lot of red. The Helium Shotgun is going to fall off in damage, headshot damage, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage, but is going to make up for it whenever it comes to fire rate, magazine size, range, and reload time. Now, of course, it's going to have a lower chance to crit, it's going to have a lower crit hit damage, it's going to have a lower base damage, so I don't really think that the fire rate and the mag size and everything like that's going to help this weapon too much. And this weapon was featured in my top 3 shotguns you need to check out since they got buffed. It was featured in that video, but I do gotta say, even though the Helium Shotgun can pierce on top of everything else, I do feel like the Browbeater definitely still does beat this weapon. Now, moving on to the last one, we have the Double Boiler, which has always been a fan favorite for me personally, and it's a very good single target shotgun. The Double Boiler is going to have less damage, less headshot damage, less critical hit damage, but a better fire rate and reload time with less magazine size. And of course, the lower base damage mixed with the lower base crit hit damage is definitely going to hurt this weapon in the long run. The fire rate and the reload time can help it get a little bit more damage over time, but whenever you are facing off against stuff like smashers and mist monsters and everything like that, they are going to be one-hitting to two-shotting anyways, especially with the Browbeater, then it's not really that much of a competition. I just think that the Browbeater in general is one of the best shotguns in the game because of the massive amounts of damage that it can cause, and the fact that it does have a very good crit hit chance and not so low as 38% does make it a little bit more usable when not using something like Totally Rockin' Out. Whenever I'm not using something like Totally Rockin' Out and I'm using a Constructor team perk with a Constructor, I never feel as though I'm a bit underpowered when using the Browbeater because it is very consistent and it still does deal very high amounts of damage whenever you are using something that isn't just tailored to crit hit chance and for shotgun loadouts. So in my opinion, the Browbeater is the newest king of shotguns, and I don't really see many shotguns very much competing with it. You are going to have weapons like the Ground Pounder, which are going to be both single target and multi-target, but at that point it's really going to come down to personal preference onto how you are as a player, and for me, the Browbeater is just miles better than the Ground Pounder for my own personal playstyle, and is definitely my favorite shotgun in the game. And with the Spec Ops weapon set, this is definitely the diamond in the rough. Not saying that the Spec Ops weapons are bad, but in my opinion, this is my favorite out of all the new ones. But guys, that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below about the Browbeater in general. For me, definitely my favorite shotgun, definitely my favorite weapon in the Spec Ops set, and that's pretty much all I really have to say about it. Guys, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.